Welcome to the new BCMM network. The following podcast is meant solely for the enjoyment and entertainment of our audience. You're watching the all-new Blue Collar Minutemen show. Together we can save our nation.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Blue Collar Minutemen show, where we're trying to get you ready for November. Bill, how's it going?
It's going good. Just getting ready for November.
Well, you see, I'm in the command center.
In the command center, yep.
I like my command center set up.
I got my tank back here.
By the way, we'll make plans to get Tony back on here, by the way.
Yeah. Tony needs to come back on the show.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Share these videos, subscribe to them. That way, anytime a new video comes out, you will be the first one to know. Anytime Blue Collar Minutemen get a video out, and sharing these videos help get the word out to people who may not know what's going on. So, as always, let's get this show started. Bill, let's fire this up with what's going on up in Washington with these bills and the new directive that has come out by the DOD.
Okay. The DOD has issued a new directive. They've updated their directive, which they have out every year.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, they've updated it to include the use of lethal force against U.S. citizens.
Yep.
To protect and save lives and property. Now, and they only have to have the authorization to use lethal force. I'm reading this here.
Mm-hmm.
To use lethal force, all they have to have is the go ahead from the what do you call him? The defense
Secretary.
Secretary of Defense, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's as high as it has to go. It doesn't have to go to the president to use lethal force. Secretary of Defense can issue the order for use of lethal force against American citizens. Not just anyone, American citizens.
Right.
That's the new directive.
Now, that's to use the military force, right?
Yes.
Doesn't that kind of contradict Posse Comitatus?
Well, yes. It do. But this is how they're justifying it.
Mm-hmm.
If there's another insurrection at the Capitol, or they cheat and we find out and we revolt, they can use lethal force.
So here's the good question, Bill. Who determines what an insurrection is?
Because at this point, the Secretary of Defense.
Okay, but if we remember J6 on this supposed insurrection, I don't remember any people having guns.
No.
So if nobody has guns and they deem it an insurrection to use lethal force against unarmed citizens, I'm just throwing that out there.
I know. It kind of reads, okay, back in the day, we used to do missions with the Border Patrol.
Mm-hmm.
And that's law enforcement.
Right.
But we weren't allowed to use lethal force unless we were in danger of our life, losing our life.
Right.
This directive appears to be going back. Let's see, the Clinton era, they stopped all that.
Mm-hmm.
Now it seems they're just going back to what they had, but they're adding one step of you can now use lethal force in that action. Okay, that's what they're saying, that they will be assisting local, state, and federal law enforcement.
Assisting?
Yes. Upon request, they'll be assisting local, state, and federal law enforcement. Now, that includes the FBI.
Oh, I know.
So Take
That's
that, take that as you will.
that to me, and this is me thinking out loud, folks. Me thinking out loud. To me, it seems like they're preparing for when the election doesn't go to Trump, that they're getting their just in case ready for all of us radical people. Just a thought there, folks. Just a thought. Now, on the flip side of that, what is the bill that they have come out with when Trump wins? Because let's face it, folks, they don't want him to. We all know that. But when he wins, what's the bill that they're trying to do? I think, let's see, who was it? That was brought up by.
Let me find it here.
Let me, because it was a particular.
It's a senator.
Yeah, Senator Richard Blumenthal.
Yeah. Now, in his bill, what he's wanting to pass, and they're wanting to pass this really bad if they think Trump's going to be elected, which
right.
Apparently they think he is going to be elected. So now you got the military who can use lethal force. So what's Trump, hey, all these riots are going to start. We know once he's elected, BLM, Antifa, all of them's going to be out burning shit down.
Right.
So technically, he can sit in the military.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those riots. But the bill that the senator is trying to pass will forbid the president from deploying troops inside the United States.
Now,
I know.
So which one are they?
I know. I think they're just waiting until they figure out who's going to be elected. Now, this bill won't even go up until after the election.
Right.
But from November to January, they got a long time to get that bill passed if he wins. They're just throwing it out there right now saying, this bill's out here. You get elected, we're going to try to pass this bill.
Do y'all see what the heck is happening?
If he doesn't get elected, then they won't pass the bill.
Uh-huh.
And they'll use the military against us.
I hope you all are listening and pay attention. Do you all see what this is going on? They're not hiding it anymore. That's the thing.
And they've already got several members of Congress pledging not to certify the election.
Yeah.
If Trump wins.
Are they trying to start a war in the country?
If they lose, yes.
Well, we've said it.
Because if there's a war in the country, Trump won't be able to hang him because he'll be too busy fighting a war.
Well, here's my thing. We've said this since we started this year. They're trying to sink this country just as fast as they can. And it's almost like, well, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to tear up the playing board if I'm going to lose, and nobody's going to be able to play.
I'm taking my basketball and I'm going home.
Yes. And that is not what this democratic process, notice I say democratic process, is supposed to be about. Every person is supposed to have a voice and a vote to vote for the majority of what the people want. But they're not playing by those rules, are they, Bill?
No.
Okay. And I'm going to just say this, because we've said this too. Now, Trump wins, and we know he won, and he goes into office, and BLM and all this starts all of this. Let's face it. 9 times out of 10, I'll be willing to say 95% of this is going to be in bigger cities.
Yeah, oh, yeah. No, it's not going to be in the small towns.
No. So your bigger cities, Seattle again. I don't know about Chicago. Chicago's got enough issues.
Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Chicago, I don't know about. I'm kind of up in the air on Chicago.
That's me too.
They got a lot of them. What you call it on CNN? Them field African Americans.
Those field African Americans. Listen, we're gonna get to that too, because I can't believe that happened. But it'll be the bigger cities. So for all of us who are in small town America and the southern states, we'll see all the bigger cities absolutely just on fire. And
well, they're saying that they might also try to spark it with another George Floyd type ordeal.
Yeah.
They'll go out and they'll shoot somebody and then they'll start riots over it.
I don't know. This is we said it again, folks. Just prepare yourselves. It does not hurt.
All right. Hey, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we had a major malfunction there. But we're back. Hold on just a second. Let me make sure. Hold on with us just a minute. All right. I think we got it.
Yeah. Sorry about that, folks. But to go on, let's talk about this whole CNN issue in case you all missed it. Now, I'm pretty sure the host and the guest and the other guy, they were all Black people. So if you haven't seen it, you have to look this up. But the guest was talking about how all of the people who were going to be voting for Trump, all the Black people, they were going to be the field Negroes. And all of the House ones were going to be voting for Democrats.
Well, you had the House, and she said African Americans. She said the House African Americans and the field African Americans. You know what she meant.
Yeah, I knew what she meant too. But the thing is, Bill, is that they literally went so far as to trying to say, they tried to turn it on him. They're saying, oh, are you trying to say that all of the Black people that are voting for him are slaves? And now the slaves, they tried to twist it. And he's like, it just kills me.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. First off, I understand what he's trying to say. Excuse me. He's basically trying to say that all the hardworking Black folks are sick of this crap because they can't buy anything at the grocery store, which we all have that issue. When you go to the gas pump and you're paying $95 for 5 gallons of gas, everybody's sick of it. And we've said this before on the podcast, Bill. It is the working class that pays for everything in this country.
Everything. Okay, the government has no money of its own.
No.
It has no money. So people are sitting around thinking, well, the government's got this money and they're sending it here and they're sending it there. That's not the government's money. That's your money.
Yes.
The taxpayers, it's their money.
You know, I saw a video. I saw a video earlier, and it made me realize that this was absolutely true. This girl was going off about how she wants her money back from Ukraine, that it is not the government's money. You know,
this is true.
It's her money. It's our money. And people don't seem to understand it either. They're playing a commercial that is telling the American people that Trump is going to give tax breaks to the rich. And they're like, well, we're going to tax the rich. Look, hear me. Everybody listen. This is not rocket science. If Bill makes a product and he's charging $3.25 for his product, and I say I'm going to tax him, what is he going to do? Well, I'm going to raise it $2.
I'm going to raise it $2 and I'm going to fire an employee because I can't afford them anymore.
Of course, folks, of course we want the rich to have some tax breaks. So when you go to buy that loaf of bread, it doesn't cost you $7 for a loaf of bread.
Let's go buy
People
a
can't
meal
be
at,
that
okay, I bought, where was it? I was at Dairy Queen. Went
Mhm.
to Dairy Queen, I bought a small hamburger, small onion rings, and a Coke. $9. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. $9.
Well,
So,
like I said, these commercials and ads they're running for Kamala Harris, these are the dumbest things ever. If you just think just a little bit, because like I said, like my analogy said, if Bill's spending, has a product and it's $3.25, and I'm going to tax him, all Bill's going to do is raise the price of it because obviously you need it. So he's still not going to be out any money. But
and when I fire that employee, that gives me more money.
right. But if he gets a tax break, he can employ people. He can keep his prices and overhead low so that he makes money and that we can buy a product to keep money in our pockets.
Yep.
Okay, that's my.
I mean, simple economics. I mean,
Yes.
If your boss is getting a tax break, he doesn't have to pay. I mean, okay, let's look at these taxes they're paying. I mean, they're paying an ungodly amount of taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of your price there. I mean, okay, has everyone ever looked at gas? You know, there's a state gas tax. There's a federal gas tax. I think there's a local gas tax, and each one's 2 or 3 cents. And I think the government's 9 cents on a gallon now. We're talking probably 40 cents of that gas money you're paying is taxes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not you're paying for the fuel. The fuel's that much. The taxes are that much.
Jeez. So, folks, that's my whole spiel on that. I mean, sorry we kind of got on a little rant on that, but these commercials promoting Kamala and the stance that they're taking about the whole, they're going to tax the rich and it's going to be better for everybody. No, it ain't. Don't believe it. Now, Bill, let's move on to something else, namely Tim Walz.
All right, let me find some of this on Tim.
Find something. Tim. It's already out there.
Old Tampon Tim. Let me find where we stuck that at.
Now, while Bill's looking, what we're talking about is, now remember, here we are with another Democrat, and coming out of the woodworks is someone else who is saying that he's basically molesting juveniles.
Yeah, when he was a teacher, there's several people coming out now saying that, he took me to a concert. He did this, he did that. He was grooming me, and this other guy says, "Well, he just outright and molested me."
and notice you said a guy.
Yeah, a guy. Now there's also accusations coming out from some of the females he called also. All underage, all under whatever you call it, juveniles.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't find that. It's here somewhere, I know.
Well, while you're finding that, Bill, let me just say this as a disclosure that, these things we say are for the entertainment value of our audience. And we just want you to know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like the intro says, it's for your entertainment and enjoyment.
while you're looking, has anybody seen a trend in this yet? I'm saying, just has anybody seen a trend with the Democrats? Juveniles, molestation. We had Democrats in the Dad Blasted Congress while it was empty, two men having sex. We've got more Democrats. There was a
it's not that I mean, this is not just us saying this stuff. This is out there in the mainstream media. It's just not been reported yet. But apparently there's a group of 9 that have an attorney and they're going after Tampon Tim.
good.
So
Because let's say what the Democrats said, Bill. I mean, shouldn't we believe all women?
oh yeah.
So, I mean, we should believe that this is true. If that's the way what they were saying about everything else, you know, they put Kavanaugh through absolute hell.
Here we go. I found it. Okay. It's not looking good for Walsh. Lawyer Phil Holloway said the accuser is going to go public. Otherwise, it wouldn't get any traction other than on the X.
Mm-hmm.
He agreed to, I mean, there's like 70 pages of this from this journalist who dug into this. They're trying to take him to criminal court. They're going to try to charge him criminally.
Now, Bill, I'm going to play Carl for a minute and just say, oh, that's just the Republicans trying to get back at what they did to Trump, because they took Trump to court and they were trying to get Trump on all those federal felony charges, and now they're just retaliating.
Okay, now let's just do it this way. You know, he taught in Nebraska to start with.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think a lot of this started.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He unceremoniously resigned as a teacher in Nebraska and moved all the way up to Minnesota. Because the school board, let me see, here's a letter from the school board about his resignation. Yeah, it looks like this letter from the school board is one of those, you resign or you get fired. So,
yeah, that figures.
He resigned.
Well,
but anyway, it's out there, people. Start
Yeah.
watching. That's going to be your October surprise, I believe. Is these guys are going to come forward on Walsh, and then she's going to be stuck with probably having to get another running mate.
And that is not looking good. Not to mention her her interview on Fox.
Holy
dumpster fire.
moly, what a car wreck. And I'm looking at the mainstream media talking about how great she did. She put Barr in his place and blah, blah, blah.
What the?
People, if you watch this interview, she was completely lost. She had no idea what she was doing or where she was at. And she couldn't answer a damn question.
No. And I literally lost 20 minutes of my life watching it, because I only watched 20 minutes. But I lost 20 minutes of my life. And every time he'd ask her a question, she never answered it. And she'd deflect back to something that Trump.
Blame Trump.
Yes.
Blame Trump. And Brett Baer was like, well, you've been in office for 3.5 years, not Trump. Well, he's running for office. Well, okay. What does it matter? You've been in office for 3.5 years.
Right.
You couldn't get her to say anything about the border.
Nope.
She's saying, well, Trump did it, Trump did it, Trump did it. And she knows, she goes, kept going, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And Brett Baer finally looked at her and says, no, I don't know what you're talking about. That was a great moment.
Well, and that's something else. He was asking her about the border. The part I watched, he literally said, you know, border agents are supporting Trump because they said you have failed at closing the border. And she was like, well, let's understand that the border and what it signifies and what Trump did caused all this, you know, and that's all she did.
Well,
that's
and he kept asking, well, Trump had all these policies in place, and the first day you guys threw them away, got rid of them.
Yeah.
Why? Well, we're fixing the border, and Trump convinced them not to sign that border bill that we had, and we could have fixed it, and it was Trump's fault, and blah blah blah. And Brett Baer's going, but it was 3 years before you even came up with this bill. You've been letting people cross the border. Why didn't you do anything then? Well, let me tell you about this bill. This bill, and he's like, no,
Yeah.
I know what you did back here. And she just kept saying, it's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault.
It was a
But,
complete.
you know, if you read the border bill, it was still going to let like 100,000 come through a month.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was ridiculous. The whole bill was a piece of shit.
Listen, I had this conversation last night with some guys that you're familiar with that we used to work with. To my Hispanic people out there who might be watching this, let me just throw this out there. Everybody in this country 5, 6 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, knew that people were coming across that border. Everybody in this country knows that a lot of the working people are illegals who work in this country. We know that. Nobody gave hardly a crap about what was coming across that border until it became politicized. So, with that being said, the border has become such a political tool as of right now, and it's being used by the Democrats to try and push this election. For my Hispanic folks out there, listen to me. I love you.
Yeah, I don't agree.
You don't agree?
No. I mean, we had people coming across, and we knew it, and it was okay. They were working, they were doing this. What brought attention to it is when these mass caravans of tens of thousands of people showed up all at once to come across.
Right.
Because they were being given benefits.
Right.
By the Democrats.
Right.
But they didn't politicize it, so to speak, as much as they were just doing it. I mean, it was just
instigating it.
Instigating, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Trump come out to shut the wall down, and all hell broke loose.
Right. So what I'm trying to say to my Hispanic friends out there is, just like me, you're being used. You're being hoodwinked. You're being bamboozled, led astray. Just want to say that. I love you. How much time we got left, Bill?
3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay. Real quick, anything else? Final word?
Just one thing I posted on our page a while ago. Let me pull that up real quick. And it's true, and you all gotta realize this, because I don't think many of you realize, but November to January is going to be one of the most dangerous times that any of us have ever experienced in our lifetimes in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Brace yourself. It's coming.
Yeah.
No matter which way it goes, January or November to January, it's going to be a rough ride.
Right. All right, folks. Thank you all for joining us. Check us out on YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble.
We love tobacco. Yeah.
What's that?
I just We love tobacco here.
And also check out the website, bluecollarminutemen.com. Thank you all for joining us. God bless you, and God bless America. And just be prepared. We'll see you.
Say yeah.